Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Inside the Majors. I am Matt Gelder, and I am joined with Mike Ouellette, the founder, the wonderful man himself, and we have an missing John King, but I have a feeling he will show up very soon. This episode comes from Watkins Glen. We are trying to recreate the 1968 US GP as best as possible, and we are using the Lotus 49. The real race was won by Jackie Stewart in the Mantra Ford, but coming very close was Graham Hill, who did finish second in the Lotus 49. John, or Mike, hello, how are you? How was your week so far?
Good, Matt. Doing well. Literally just got a new PC 2 days ago. I haven't for the last month or so. It's a little crazy, but I haven't even been able to load the sim at all. So it's just been dying a slow death. So it's good to be able to jump back in it. So having a good week.
Good, you get to see all the pixels like you're supposed to. And Mr.
Exactly.
King, hello, we see you that you just popped in the booth. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Still a bit sleepy though. I literally have just woken up, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm a bit slow at the moment.
Make sure you get your cup of coffee.
Got a cup of coffee right in front of me.
Nice. All right. So, unfortunately, that you are still sleepy, but we're gonna start with you, John. There was a rumor going around that you may have watched the Lotus 49 at one time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in some ways, because it means I'm old. That's true.
We
During
already know you're old, but we wanted to see if you were the age of the 49.
Yeah, during my childhood, my family lived in South Africa, and I watched the 1968 South African Grand Prix, which was Jim Clark's 25th Grand Prix win. Unfortunately, it turned out to be his last as well, because he was killed a couple of months later. So I saw the original Lotus 49, not even the Lotus 49B, um, win the race. Um, that race was also interesting in a couple of other ways. Not only was it Clark's last win, it was the last time the Lotuses appeared in the traditional British racing green colours. After that, they became gold leaf team Lotus. Um, and also, I think it was the last time that the car that we raced on iRacing raced, um, because after that, it became the 49B with wings and stuff like that on it.
Oh, so that was kind of that hybrid era where they were
Yeah,
transitioning to downforce kind of thing.
yeah. 1968 was the year that they discovered that by sticking stuff on the car that pointed downwards, and made the air push the car down, they gained a whole bunch of grip, and it all happened then. So the cars the cars started to sprout little bits on them, sort of winglets on the side of the nose cone and stuff like that that gave them a little bit more downforce, and then they had those enormous and high wings on them that were somehow someone decided they should connect them to the suspension, um, and it gave them massive downforce, and they could manually move the wings as well, so that they could point them straight during on the straights. Um, that all happened in 1968.
So the dawn of the downforce era began.
Yeah, in Formula One anyway. I think
Oh, yeah.
the Chaparral was a lot earlier than that, though.
Right. Well, that's where everybody started noticing after in '68 and after when they started doing that. It was like, okay, we figure that if you're going this fast, you kind of need to have a little grip. So then everybody started noticing. Oh, Mr. Mike, I have a question for you. Are you ready, sir?
Sure.
We'll give John a minute to have a sip of coffee. So nothing shows the variety of the majors the last 3 rounds. We had the Mono F1 car at Spa. We had Silver Crowns at Lucas, the Little Lucas, and then now we have the iconic, pretty much the oldest F1 car, technically predating. At the try to get as close as we can to the 68 USGP. Last time we used the Lotus 49 was at Milwaukee Mile. That was a really fun race. How do you think the race will go? At least for Euro and the Americas. We'll talk about what International did in a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to be good races. The field will get separated. There will be individual driver error, but for the most part, it'll be self-impacting more than anything else. The international race I thought was good and clean for the most part. I felt bad for Johnny. He had a great qualifying and kind of got run over at the start of the race and sent him spiraling downward. But especially in a race where you're not scheduled to stop, really, having an incident is sort of catastrophic. But outside of a couple of those types of things, I thought the race was really good. Again, a lot of driver unforced errors, but in this car, that's to be expected. The car is forcing those errors.
The car drives you instead of you driving the car.
Yeah, that's oftentimes the case. So, but I think it's gonna be a good race. I think it'll be fun. I think most people will enjoy it. It's a long time. Two solid hours behind the seat for that thing, and my dog is sorry.
And John, I know hopefully you got some coffee in you. Yeah, tell us how your race went, and it sounds like unfortunately I missed it, so I didn't get to watch it. But sounds you did. I saw you did a heck of a job in qualifying. But I will let you kind of talk about how your race went.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed with this one because I'd worked hard on qualifying, and I had really good race pace, but I messed up the start. My problems at turn one were a lot self-inflicted. I made a really bad start, and I've had so many wrecks this year that I've just lost all confidence in racing in a pack into the first corner. And I was just too cautious and got run over from behind. But honestly, self-inflicted. And then of course I was in a situation where I had to score some points for the team, and I had to make it to the end, and I didn't have a fast repair left, so I had to take it really easy for the rest of the race and make sure that I got to lap 80. And then I got involved in another incident, which I'd rather not say anything about. But yeah, so a bummer. But I think the racing was pretty good. We had a small field, unfortunately, but it looked like the rest of the racing was pretty good. There was some good battles going on near the front of the field. So overall good. Personally, as much a disaster as the rest of the season's been.
Well,
It was on par.
Well, that's unfortunate. I know you were really looking forward to this race. You wanted to at least improve your more mental fortitude towards racing. I know that you were really looking forward to it. It's unfortunate. It kind of sucks, but we only got 2 more rounds left. There's only 2 rounds left, guys, after this weekend.
I know, it's amazing.
This
John's
year
ready for next year.
John's ready for next year. With everything going on, it's still unbelievable how fast this year is going by already.
I'm ready to be a good midfield runner in Sportsman next week.
There you go. Sounds like me. All right, so we're gonna hop in from one segue to another segue. We're gonna jump into some talks about some championships. Mike, any significant changes to driver standings? I guess we can run down from region to region.
Yeah, I mean, America's is I mean, as far as the number one spot, it could even be wrapped up this week. I think I'll have to do the math on that. But and Christian's been flying in practice. He loves this car. If you remember what he did last year in the at Milwaukee,
Yeah,
and
you lapped almost the entire field. Yeah.
basically, exactly. I know Steve Driscoll had to withdraw this week, so that's going to knock. He's third place in America, so that's not going to help him. And Travis had a little bit of a rough week, so yeah, it's well in hand. But battles within the top five are still really strong. In America's Sportsman, same thing. Battles from second to eighth is really good, whereas the lead is pretty well secure, so that's fine. But in like in international, with the race already run, you're looking at Will and Cam finished second and fourth yesterday. Will has a 70-point lead or so on Cam going into the race. I'm not sure how he's going to look afterwards. Obviously, he's still going to maintain the lead. But it'll be close. 2 rounds to go. Cam's pretty solid in the supercar, so we'll just have to see. And Cam won the Indy 500 the year before, so we know he's solid in the IndyCar. I expect it to be close coming down to the wire and that'd be awesome. One of the really cool things about the international race yesterday was the one by Harold Sadler. He's one of the Legends drivers. I'm not sure if he's the first Legends driver to win a race this year in any of the regions. I might be wrong on that, but I know that was his first win ever in the series, and it was it was interesting to hear him on the broadcast. I hadn't heard him before, so that was cool. He was pretty excited. But the Legends Championship is going to come right down to it in international. Unfortunately, John's going to have to give that up to either Dan or Harold, but that's going to be interesting. And of course, the Euro Pro is going to be the one that's really interesting. Going to come down to about 3 or 4 guys in European Pro. So, and with this car, it's really hard to tell who's who's going to make the fewest mistakes. I will say Riley Thompson has been really hot lately. I'll be curious to see if he can continue that. See if Yao can get back on track in Euro to sort of solidify his lead. A lot of good stories there.
Yeah, it as you were saying, yeah, Pro, it seems like it's pretty close to being locked up. If not locked up already. I think from calculations that I was doing during the week when I was updating points, yeah, it looks like it's pretty much a runaway for both Pro and Sportsman. Yeah, the year. Oh, let's go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail your train of thought, but I wanted to kind of let people know one thing. So the team points from last round are incorrect. In some cases, they're probably not off by much. But what I did accidentally was I took the team's best 3 drivers total. So how they performed in the 2 races, added their points up in the top 3, where what we were supposed to do was take the top 3 in each of the 2 races and then add those up. So there'll be a small changes to the team points as a result, and we messed up Kinetic International last round, so there's a few they're shy a few points. So team points will look a little bit different. I'll try to notate that when we do them. But anyway, that's the double feature there kind of threw me off.
Yeah, it's what happens when we don't do a bunch of them, and the points are just kind of a little weird. But no, yeah, Euro Pro I think is the one to watch right now. With it potentially 5 people now. So Verde, Banfield, Thompson, and Riley is pretty much in it now, so 4 people. And then Euro Sportsman, you got Harper and Joe Homan. So yeah, I think Euro for winning the Pro and the Sportsman division in Europe those are the ones that will watch. Like you were saying, international and Americas, it seems like it's the winners are pretty much already determined. It's everybody back is what needs to be filtered out still.
Yeah, international is definitely very tight between Will and Cam because Will's got a lead, but Cam is Cam is very good at Bathurst, um, so you may well make up some points on Will there. Will's also going to be compromised because he's going to be using an unfamiliar rig because he's working at Bathurst in real life that weekend. So he's going to be using Eric Thorpe's rig at. Fortunately, Eric lives really close to the Bathurst circuit, so it's going to be very tight there. Um,
Is it a 1993 Nintendo Entertainment System controller?
no, it's actually considerably better than Will's rig, but whether Will can get used to it in the time available is another matter. It might be that Will just um, ambles around near the back of the field just to gain points
I
because
doubt that very much.
he has a bad. Well, Will has a really bad drop round, so it's going to be a bit of a tactical nightmare for him.
So even Europe, even your international is still a toss up technically, and being that close, anything can happen. Unlike America's Pro, for example, Christian can just park for the next two races and probably still win it.
Yeah, Christian, Christian mathematically can still be beaten, but it would take something really strange to happen. I think, from my calculations, I think that even mathematically, he can wrap it up this weekend.
Right. So after
The other thing about international is the sportsman race, the sportsman championship was pretty tight, and it's even tighter after yesterday because the top two in the championship didn't do particularly well yesterday, but Martin Houston and Phil Otto both did okay. So I think it's going to be very close between the four of them.
and that shows what one race can change everybody around.
Yeah, Stephen was really under pressure because he had a badly damaged car, um, but he managed to get round to the 75% mark to get classified. So I think he's probably retained his championship lead, but it looked really dodgy for him at one point. He was off track for about 10 or 12 laps at one point, and it really looked like he wasn't going to get back on again.
Oh wow. Well, that'll be interesting to come to see what that comes down to the next couple of races. So John, since we got the individual points out of the way, what are the teams looking like right now?
It's a similar story, really. America's we've probably got too much. Connecticut probably got too much of a lead now for UDocs to overturn, especially with Christian in the form that he's been in. Um, so again, it's still mathematically possible that UDocs could catch us, but it's very very unlikely to happen. And same story in the Premier Division. Forge have got a big lead over UDocs and Kinetic. Um, that's but the second place fight is really really tight, um, and UDocs and Kinetic are both, of course, focused on the elite division. But both teams, Premier teams, look in pretty good form this round. So um, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Um, Europe, it's a toss up between Grizzly and Bombshell, and no one is close. So we'll have to see what happens with them. I think there's less than 100 points between them, so it's going to be a tight fight right to the end.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the team races that was even. It's going to be even closer because that was one that was impacted by my scoring error last round. So when I update that, it's actually I think it's a third closer than that.
That'll make it interesting.
Premier in Europe is a complete runaway for Hanson Brothers. I think they've got like 1,000 point lead, so they've wrapped it up basically. Um, maybe not mathematically yet, but for sure they're gonna win. International is sort of interesting. Um, I I made a huge mistake earlier in the year, and I dropped Will from the elite team. So it's been a lot closer with MF Racing than it could have been. Um, but once we take once we take Mike's little mistakes into account, we've got a fairly comfortable lead. And although we lost a few points yesterday, it won't be significant. So I think we're pretty comfortable. Um, but we'll see. In Premier, MF Racing have completely wrapped it up. Their teams are first and second, and I think Kinetic Sportsman team is third, and we're like 1,800 points behind. So I don't think there's any doubt that MF Racing are going to win that one. Yeah, the points last time were sort of good for me because all year I've been doing back of the envelope calculations on the teams to make sure that Mike calculates them properly, and finally that paid off over the last round, and I managed to catch him out. So, but yeah, it's a complicated scoring system. So Mike does an awesome job normally to calculate it properly, and especially those split races, they're even more complicated than normal.
I guess he's allowed to screw up every once in a while.
Sure.
Sounds like congrats to MF Racing. Pretty much dominating international sportsman. Yeah, John Kinetic is pretty much with Christian in the form he is. You guys are just literally just running away from us. I think we're just for American Pro. We're just sitting here waiting, just trying to hold the second spot. Sportsman is another story. I have not had the greatest last few races myself, so trying to get enough guys we're trying to get all on the same wavelength so we can try to make sure that we are not going to lose second spot to you guys. You need to go stay back down there. And then Grizzly Bombshell, that's been a very cool one to watch. It seems like they trade blows back and forth almost every race.
Yeah, it's sort of a repeat of 2018. Last year Kinetic dominated the European region team-wise, but this is almost the exact scenario that played out in 2018 when Bombshell ended up winning it. I know Grizzly, both teams are really, really determined and interested in winning. I get questions every round on the scoring and making sure it's right, and wanting to know how everybody did and whatnot. And with last round we had the multiple splits and or the double races I should say, and then we had a lot of people get DQ'd on incident cap, so that was some confusion with the points. So they're hyper interested in winning that region, so it's going to come right down to it. It's cool.
Yeah, one thing I was thinking of the other day, and relevant to Americas is, yes, we've managed to build up a decent lead on UDocs now, but we got used to that in Americas over the last couple of years, where we also sort of kept the lead team honest, and but never actually looked like winning in the last few races. But Mike, can you imagine a series without, if you go back a year, can you imagine the America series without Alliance? And we've hardly been impacted this year. The fight between particularly UDocs and Kinetic has been so strong in America that it's unfortunate that Alliance haven't been there, but the series itself has hardly missed a beat at all.
Well, that's true. It is true. We're bigger than we've ever been. We've got more participation than we've ever had, and that still goes every year. On a personal note, I hate to see teams like Alliance and Riding Shotgun, especially two teams that have been with us from the beginning, not running. It's going to be my mission in the offseason to get some of them back interested, with some of the changes that we're making to locked in drivers, things that hopefully will, while we continue to expand the series and make it bigger, we also want to ride the fence a little bit and try to continue making it that family close knit atmosphere, and we try to strike that balance every year. Obviously, hopefully we've gotten closer now as we nail down those rules. I know we're not 100% there yet, but I'm going to try to recruit some of those guys back, and I think they love the series, and some of them have even said. It just takes so much out of you because the preparation required to do well, the time investment to do well is immense, and so I get that. I really do, and we're never going to change that. That's just going to be part of what the series is, and I like that about it. To be honest, it's never meant to be a casual series. But yeah, I'd like to see them back. But to your bigger point, no, the series has done amazing, and you guys have picked up the fight right where you and Alliance were last year. So it's really awesome to see. And yeah, had Alliance been still here, Riding Shotgun still been here in full force, we could have had a pretty cool 4-way battle. But as is, hasn't missed a beat.
And not to throw shade at oh, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, it would have been awesome to have a 3-way fight, but when we knew that Alliance was pulling out of the beginning of the year, I thought that it was going to be a horrible season, but it's turned out to be anything but that.
Yeah, I do miss the Alliance. I miss Alliance. I miss Riding Shotgun. I miss the wood. I miss the wood grain guys. But not to throw shade at any of the other teams. Dog Bear they're putting up a fight too. They're in it almost every round, so it's not to throw shade at any of the other teams. It's like a repeat of last year, just with different people and different colors. But it's not. Everybody's doing. It's still the same fight. It's still amazing. Yeah, and I hope we get Alliance to come back, and I hope can get Riding Shotgun to come back. Like to see like Forge. This year they've shown that they've done the repeat where they can put a team together at the last minute and be pretty dominant. And hopefully they can bring some dominance to the pro side with what they put together on the sportsman side.
Yeah, well, they'll be challenged in a whole new way next year for sure, as they have they've got a couple drivers that race pro now, but they're going to have a full squad that's going to be a pro classified team for sure next year, assuming that they stick together mostly. I know they're trying to expand, so it's going to be a whole new challenge for them. And then yeah, if Alliance does come back in some form, Jason's not really doing any sim racing right now, but if they come back in part, I know that I'm sure John will be very, very interested in winning that fight straight up, because I'm sure that as good as it's going to feel to win the Americas Region Team Championship, it would have felt better to beat the guys that have never lost.
Oh yeah, that's totally. Exactly. You always want to take down the biggest dog then prove yourself, but it kind of sucks when the big dog leaves and you're just like, now what do we do? So with that little bit of segue, even though this is kind of a little bit different segue, Mr. Ouellette, there are some rumors floating around from some birdies saying that they might be an additional series showing up. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
Yeah, for sure. So we are basically my goal is to have something running all the time. John made the comment, we're getting to the point where we're going to have a race every weekend, and that's not that far from the truth. Anyway, so under the majors umbrella, we are gonna have two new series next year. As a matter of fact, one of them is going to start 2 weeks after this season ends on November 15th. So we're going to have two series. One is going to be what we call the MTech series, which is the Majors Team Endurance Championship. And that is going to be a 5-race series this winter, again, starting in November. And for teams of 2 to 4 drivers, it's really focused on the pro-am aspect of racing. So you won't have two elite level drivers on the same team. Each team will have to have at least one AM driver, so under 2,500 I rating, and that person's going to have to complete roughly 50% of the race distance each round in the pro-am category. We're also going to have an AM class where both drivers have to be under 2,500, or I shouldn't say both drivers, at least two. So again, teams can be 2 to 4 in size. And again, the focus is really on pairing multiple skill levels together, seeing how people can work together and really sort of that gentleman aspect of racing, which is what the majors is all about anyway. So just sort of an extension of that, and it's also something different and unique from what a lot of the endurance series do. NEO is really big and popular, and they cater to pro level drivers pretty much strictly. You've got the Sports Car Open, which started today, same thing. So there's plenty of those series to go around for people who just want that. This was something that was going to be a little bit different. We're also going to be having full course cautions in this road endurance series, so that's something that we're really excited about. And the cars that we're going to be using it's going to be IMSA-ish. So we're going to use the new Dallara LMP2 as the prototype class. We are going to use 4 of the 5 GTE cars as the GTE class, and those are the 2 Pro-Am championships. Will be the prototype and the GTE, and then our AM championship will come from our GT4 division, or class. So we're going to have the BMW M4 and the Porsche 718 Cayman as the GT4 class, and that's just for AM level drivers. Series will be broadcast as all of our others are. 5 races this winter. Again, we'll have more information out actually in a couple of days. People can start signing up for it. And then my personal, so that was actually the brainchild of Eric, Mickey, and John King, was to have an endurance championship inside the majors, and I thought that was a good idea. And then something that we've done in the past, something that is really sort of my baby, something that is really important and unique and fun for me, is the Predator format. And we've really gone back and forth whether or not to include the Predator format in our regular season. And there's a lot of people that want it, and there's a lot of people that don't. It's a very polarizing subject, to be honest. And we are just going to bring back a Predator Championship. So it's similar to the Endurance Championship, except for not teams. It'll be a 90-minute races. There'll be 5 of those, and that'll start shortly after the MTech series ends. Again, it'll be all Predator all the time for 5 rounds. Don't have classes or schedule yet to release on that, but that's going to essentially run the spring and the summer, where the MTech series will run the fall and the winter. So we can keep something interesting going on outside of the major series for everybody. Again, anybody who's not interested in running those, you don't have to. You'll be able to just get the major series package if you want to, or we'll have deals where you can purchase all 3 and compete in all 3 championships. And we plan to add even 1 or 2 more series going forth. Maybe even having some official affiliate series, things of that nature, just so that we feel like we got a good thing going on. We think that we're well organized. We think that we understand well, how to operate these things, and I think people enjoy them. So we wanted to branch out into things that we don't necessarily do. But one of the things that was important to me, anything that we're going to do, I don't want it to be cookie cutter. I don't want it to be the same as what you can find in 100 other leagues out there. So we want it to be something unique to our series. Obviously, the major series I think fits that bill. Predator certainly fits that bill, and we're trying to make the endurance series have as many unique aspects to it as possible to make it memorable for folks. Long answer, sorry.
I'm glad to hear these. I'm really glad the Predator is making a comeback in some kind of form. I'm really sad that more people don't like the Predator. It is very interesting. I think that's kind of what started to get the eye of the majors was the weird Predator races. But I'm glad they're coming back. I enjoy them. They're really fun.
Yeah, I think the Predator races were very popular. What was really polarizing was whether they should be part of the series or not, the main series or not, because of course the points are allocated based on the handicap. And when we ran it last year, we we gave ourselves a big challenge of calculating the handicaps at the Nürburgring, and it didn't work out perfectly. Let's put it that way. So I think there was a lot of pushback on having the races on as part of the main series, but I think the races themselves have always been very popular. So it'll be interesting to see if we can make a full series of them work. Personally, I love them. I really, really like the Predator series. It's really good fun to run in.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to hear that they're 90 minutes, right, Mike? You said for the Predator.
90.
Okay, so yeah, so they're not very long, which is going to make it even more interesting because it's going to make you have to get moving faster and not dolly around. And so yeah, it'll be a really interesting series. If you've never seen a Predator series or Predator race and you're new to the majors this season, we'll have to put some links in the Discord so you guys can check it out, or just type Predator. Predator is a Predator race would be the easiest way, probably on YouTube. Should be some older
Majors, Predator, whatever. You'll find 100
yeah,
of them.
Majors Predator race. Yeah,
Yep,
you'll
yep.
bring up the old GSRC races. They're fun to watch. You guys need to go back and go watch them.
Okay, a couple of other things on the extra series. So one, just a quick shout out for the VAPEX IndyCar League.
That was quick.
Yeah, that was a shout out. Thanks, John.
Sorry, yeah, my mic switched off for some reason.
Oh,
So a shout out for the VAPEX series, which is a IndyCar series which runs on Wednesday evenings in the USA. It's not officially a major series, but most of the guys that run it are majors regulars. If you're interested in joining it, speak to Brian Barney, or just PM me, and I'll pass you on your details. The other thing, Mike alluded to this with MTech and Predator, where we're really giving ourselves a tough challenge on schedules. So one of the things we're mulling over is to change the support races to midweek, so that we've got some extra weekends free. We really haven't decided yet, but it's on the table for discussion. Let's put it that way.
that sounds good. That's very cool. Yeah. So keep an eye out for the MTech and the Predator series. We will know something soon, or Mike and John will know some more soon. So maybe by next race we might know more, or we thinking towards the end of the year. Before we know,
by Monday or Tuesday of this coming week, there will be an official announcement on MTech, and registrations will open. We're less than 2 months away from the first race of that series. Again, it'll kick off right after the majors season ends, so it'll give people something to do in the winter. Not that they don't have things to do, but anyway, yeah. So there'll be like an official announcement within just a day or two. can't wait.
Okay. I missed that. I'm completely sorry. So yeah, keep an eye out, guys, for that. And from one series, actually the two series that we just got done talking about. John, do you have any updates on our 24-hour race coming up here soon?
Yeah, so that's all pretty much squared away now in terms of organising it. I've I've got what is pretty much now the final sporting regulations published, and all of the actually well all of the captains can see them and have been able to for 3 or 4 weeks now. But I also published them on the general channel a week or two ago. Um, so it's all ready to go. Of course, we can't do the invites for the GT3 class until the regular season is more or less finished. Although I have published a list of the teams that are likely to get invites, and made sure the captains are aware of that. So it's looking good. We'll have we should have a decent field in GT3, and I'm very hopeful that we'll get good turnouts for the GT4 and TCR classes. Again, the TCR, sorry, the GT4 class and TCR have got specific divisions for Pro Am and Am. So there's a Pro Am division within the GT4 class, and there's an All Am division for the TCRs. Again, to encourage our sportsman drivers to have something to fight for. So it should be good. The race should be awesome at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, I know we don't run the Nürburgring very often, but when we do, it's always a blast.
Yeah, it'll be fun to we've done the 24 a couple of times now, but it's always been at Le Mans, so it'll be interesting to go somewhere else, and see how things go. And Nürburgring is an awesome track for endurance racing because you can get into a really nice rhythm for driving, and the car choices are good as well. It's unfortunate we couldn't use the Porsche 911, because traditionally that should be part of that race. But we just had too many cars and too many classes, and the 911 didn't fit into the way that we wanted to do things, because we would have to have run the 911 as a sportsman class, and it's a really difficult car to drive at Nürburgring.
Yeah, someday, iRacing is going to make it so that we can have 200 or more cars in a single session, and that's what the Nürburgring was built for. So that's going to be amazing.
They're poor
Yep.
servers.
And for those people that are interested, the real life Nürburgring 24 is going on right now, so it's being streamed on YouTube, and
Oh,
it
is it?
looks
I
fantastic.
missed that.
Well, it's only 4 months after it's supposed to be, but it's in my head. I can't wrap it around. Le Mans last week and Nürburgring this week. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah,
No.
Le Mans was weird because normally I always watch as much of Le Mans as I can, and normally I can wake up on Sunday morning and switch Le Mans on and watch the sort of transition from night to day, and it took hours this year because it's so much later in the year. Sunrise didn't happen until sort of 7:30 or something French time, and normally it happens at five o'clock French time for the normal slot of the race. So I was frustrated. I was frustrated watching these cars go around in darkness for 2 hours when it should have been light.
It
Yeah,
just
the headlight glare was really bad for a lot of that broadcast. It was hard to watch some of it, but yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It
it's nothing compared to Nurburgring. It's still dark there, of course, and it's wet as well. And the GT3s in particular, their lights are incredibly bright, like seriously bright, and it's just pure glare all the time now.
Yeah, this year's Le Mans just kind of, it seemed like it was fake. It didn't, like, there wasn't that flare like there normally is because of all the bans and the shutdowns and everything. So it was like, it's like it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, it's definitely a race that missed the spectators big time, because they're so much part of the deal, and they're like not having all the lights on the side of the track and things like that must have been really freaky for the drivers, because normally it's the track's almost lit up by some of the spectator areas, and it must have felt really weird for the drivers.
Yeah, it was literally a ghost town. So yeah, it was just this year's has been weird. So we got 8.5 minutes left. Is there anything that you guys want to cover before our final session for the US GP?
Oh, I think we've covered a lot.
That's true. We did cover a lot.
I don't know if there's other. I see Jake had a question in the chat, but Wayne got it. But if there's any questions out there, then I suppose this would be a good opportunity. But or if John has anything he wants to cover specifically.
No, I think we've pretty much said everything that I wanted us to say.
I think John is still trying to wake up.
Well, that's a pretty much a permanent state for me. My sleep patterns are so weird anyway that I spend half of the day tired, so it's okay.
So, chat. Did anybody got any questions before we shut down the stream? I got 7.5 minutes left, just in case anybody decides to jump in here before the end, which I don't think there is. Quick update on times for the session. Travis Henderson put down a 106.8 for his best lap. Barnes put down a 107.093. Mazarlov put down a 107.89. Medina 108.1. Fletcher 108.2. Mason, the other Marzov, put down a 108.5, and Kevin Hall put down a 108.57. So we didn't have that many takers for this last session. That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, what are the? I haven't looked for the last day or so on live timing, but what do the splits look like, Mike?
We're gonna have just 2 in Euro and 2 in Americas, 1 Pro, 1 Sports each.
Cool.
It sounds like the puppy is not happy with that answer.
Well, she always wants more drivers.
There you go. Isaac said they missed all the smell of the campfires for Le Mans, which I don't blame him. I think a lot of people, just the way the year's been, they've missed out on a lot of stuff. I think we'll all be happy when 21 rolls around.
Yeah, one slight spoiler for the MTech series is some of the circuit choices are unusual. Let's put it that way. So it won't be a regular league where we use Spa and Le Mans and Road America. Some of those tracks might appear at some point, but there's going to be some more unusual combos.
Which I think more leagues should probably do that, because not saying that it's a bad thing that you have like the same as everybody else, but it's always good to throw some weird combinations in. Just sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's a nightmare, but it's always good to have that mix, kind of try to stand out.
Yeah, and as Mike said, we've tried to design it so that it's a little bit unusual. We stymied ourselves a little bit by with the car choices, because including the prototypes made it difficult for us to include some of the tracks. Like we wanted to include, for example, VIR, but having a mix of prototypes and GT cars on VIR is really traumatic. Um, Trust me, I've experienced it, and you don't want to be in a GT car being followed by a prototype round VIR, because it's just scary.
It's a really narrow track too.
Yeah, exactly. And like down the back sweeping part of VIR, if a prototype comes up behind a GT car there, it's really difficult for them to pass without making contact. Um, and if they sit behind, they lose, like 2-3 seconds to their opposition. So it's not a great place to run that kind of combo. So we had to change when the 217 and the Corvette came out. We obviously wanted to include those, and we had to do a little bit of a rethink on some of the circuits. But we still got a really nice combo of circuits, I think, and a little bit unusual as well.
So now, if we can convince Mike to actually have a dirt series running, we'll just combine everything into one dirt series.
Totally. Well, I wouldn't take much convincing, to be honest, but we just have to figure out when to do it. Obviously, to be totally honest with you, with the new F1 car, it's gotten such rave reviews. There's a big part of me that wants to do an official F1 series that follows all the F1 tracks that we have and full lengths and the whole bit, but I'm not going down that road just yet.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to play with the new tire models yet. I've heard really good reviews about them, and I've heard a couple iffies, but it seems like it's a really good hit.
Yeah, it's certainly brought the series back to life.
Well, we got 2 minutes left. Do we have anything? Anybody from chat? Anything? I'll give you guys free reign for 2 minutes.
It's open mic night.
Yeah, you get to ask John and Mike anything for 2 minutes.
And if you don't get any questions, Mike is going to sing. Just
more
of an incentive to ask something.
You're gonna put us through that, Mike or John? Thanks. I love you, Mike. But I don't want to hear you sing.
Yeah, that's the lesser of two evils. The really bad second prize would be me singing.
Will Leslie's like, has the majors got provisions for postage stamps for the Euro region? A lot of lamp licking and big sins coming from for sure. I think he's talking about a lot of dive bombs from downtown.
Yeah, the postal rates are going up.
There you go.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be plenty of stamp licking going on the grid in Europe.
I'm kind of glad that we actually did. Wait, is this the first time we've done anything at the Glen, John or Mike? I can't remember.
Yeah, in this series, no, we did. We in this configuration, yes, but we ran the Cup cars here a few years ago.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. I used to live when I lived in back east. I used to live like 4 or 5 hours from this track, so I'm kind of it's kind of nice to see Watkins Glen back on the schedule.
I love Watkins, all the configurations. It's an awesome track.
The boot's really fun. I like the boot. All right, boys and girls, qualifying is over. Thank everybody for watching. Thank John and Mike for coming to hang out like always. Well, I know Mike will be working on splits here really soon, so keep an eye out for those. And Q3 tomorrow for Euro Pro and America's Pro, correct?
That's right. Yep.
All right. So everybody keep an eye out for those. If you're top 10 in Euro Pro and America's Pro, you got your Q3, so keep an eye out for those emails. And again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Don't have too much fun tomorrow.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for running this again.
No problem.
Yep.
I have fun hanging out with you guys.
Good luck, everyone in the Europe and America's races.
Yep. Good luck, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Be safe. Don't die.